see on the screen, just a little reminder that the film actually does contain themes of suicide, which may be referenced during the following panel. Audience discretion is advised. If you are suffering from any of the issues that may be discussed or require assistance, please contact Lifeline. There's the number, or Beyond Blue. And over on the table over there, you will find literature if you want to take it as you leave. However, whilst the subject can be heavy, we're going to have a lot of fun and not necessarily go down that path. Will you please welcome several members of the team from Backlash, and we'll go down the line. We'll get you to introduce yourself as we go along and your role in the film, please.
Hi, I'm Jon Cohen. I was the director, the writer, the producer, and a few other things.
So you had nothing to do with it?
No.
Right.
No, I just turned up and there were these lovely people, and I thought, I'll just say action and hope they know what they're doing.
Sounds good.
They did.
That's good. Sounds like an Australian production. No, ooh, I'll get in trouble. Next.
Harsh but fair.
I don't know who this man is, but my name is Elke.
What's he doing on this panel?
I don't know what I'm doing. My name is Elke, and I play the lead role Marnie in Backlash.
I'm Lexie, and I play Marnie's best friend Ali in Backlash.
I'm Jock, Campbell, and I play Joe, who's sort of the older brother.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so the idea is interesting in a modern time. I mean, I'm so old, the only kind of bullying I have got at school was I dressed well, so I obviously had to be gay. That was the length of my bullying at school. But with what you're seeing constantly reported about cyberbullying and the extremes it's going to, and I think just recently we even saw it. Being a Queenslander, I would like to point out that Queenslander sent me down to rub it in that we beat you in Perth. But we'll leave that to one side. Billy Slater, because one of the old football players said something about him on a radio show. But the social media backlash has been incredible. People just piling on who've never met this man, saying, yeah, he's this sort of. So that's really strong, and that's the central core of what this is about, isn't it? It's not just, it's where it comes from, and to extremes. So where did that note come for you?
I mean, when I was at school, there was no cyberbullying because there was not a lot of cyber going on. So bullying itself is as old as, well, humanity probably. And as I looked around at all the cyberbullying stuff coming up, I thought it was hard enough at school when at least you could try and go home every day. But with social media everywhere, it's not possible to escape in the same way. And your average bully likes an audience, and online there's a very, very big audience who are all laughing at someone they don't know. You can hide behind your screens, there's no responsibility. Add to that, I teach a lot of children acting, and a lot of them talk about cyberbullying and the stuff they've been through. So I thought, okay, let's try and find a way of presenting the idea without preaching about it. Because there are enough films about cyberbullying, but they're often a bit preachy. So I thought, let's try and wrap it up in something a bit different, so that people get the message without feeling like they're being beaten over the head.
So where did the idea come to link it to a video game?
A friend of mine had an idea for a film based on a video game, and it just spun in the direction it spun into. I looked at an old location over in Gladesville and went, ooh, I can set my film here. And 3 weeks later I had a script. So the idea had been floating around for 2 years, but once I had the location, I thought, yep. And I knew a bunch of lovely actors, all of this fine folk I'd worked with before, so I went, okay, I reckon I have a cast as well.
So for each of you, tell us how you became involved. Where was it just a straight approach? Did he make you audition even though he knew how talented you were? What was the deal?
Jon approached me with this script, and he said, I've got a role for you, and she's a bit hard. She's the lead role, but she's not very likable.
She's lovely.
As long as he didn't say, so you're perfect for the part.
No, I hope that's not what it was. But and the story was instantly something where I was like, this is so current. Like, this is something that we need to see. And I just kind of fell in love with the challenge of playing Marnie. She's different.
Yeah, I actually had worked with Jon a few times in some shorts, along with our friend Steve, who I met at university actually, for a completely different degree. And so, you know, I'd auditioned for his last film that Elke was in, and missed the role by a hair, apparently.
That's because she has all the hair.
Yeah, I know. But so no, then it was quite a while later, and Jon reached out and asked if I'd like to audition. I said absolutely. I was going between two roles, but I just really loved Ali. I really loved her gumption and her intelligence, and I just thought she had so much depth to her. So I was like, I'm gonna go for that one. And yeah, it was I think it was even a week later, and he called and he said, you know, the thing that set you apart from all the others was that you knew how to play pain really well. And I was like, I'll take it. So we went from there with Ali.
Yeah, I've previously worked with Jon on a couple of different things. So we did the feature film Ravenswood, we've done some short films together, a few things like that. So just randomly, I got a phone call from Jon that said, hey, do you want to do a thing? And I was like, yes, I am very bored. And so he basically said, I'm thinking about you for this character of Joe, like you're going to be the bad guy in it. And so immediately I've gone, yes, finally I get to be evil. And he goes, no. I want the audience to sympathize with you. And I'm like, I get to be sad evil. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'll still do it. It's fine.
No, never mind. Next time.
Yeah, next time. But
Joe, can you just write him a nasty role, please? Just do it.
please, let me be evil.
I feel like that was pretty evil.
Yeah, you did.
I wouldn't say you were very nice.
But he was
Angry,
redeemed.
yes.
That's the yeah. Anyway, now
Villain.
Yeah.
this was a pretty intense shoot. Obviously, like the themes and many of the. I haven't seen it. I've only gone on trailers and what I've read that you sent me. How did you release from that? I mean, what was your way of going? I'm not taking this home with me. I'm not taking this even into the next half hour, sort of thing.
For me personally, I mainly use music a lot to get into different emotional states. So I sort of built this playlist to A, get me in the right headspace to get into character, and then one, to sort of scale me back afterwards. Just like a lot of sort of chill out type sessions, slow, easy kind of stuff. Just because, if you go too intense with emotions, it sort of sticks with you for a couple of hours afterwards. So you need to do different things to shake it off. So you either do something completely random, something very physical that sort of gets it out of your body. But yeah, I mainly use music to sort of help scale it back a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt we were really fortunate, like the rest of the cast and crew, just such tight-knit family, and so certainly for me, between takes, depending on how much kind of emotion was required, I could go to Riley, I could go to Jasper, whoever I needed for a really good laugh, and that would just immediately go, oh, okay, no, it's all good, and makeup were really good at kind of, once they were taking it all off at the end of the day, it gave you the opportunity to feel like you were kind of washing away the character, washing away the emotions. But there were definitely days I went home and I just kind of had to sit for a good hour and just be, and someone would try to talk to me, I'd be like, no, I need an hour, just give me a minute, and then you kind of move on with it.
Especially because we'd have leaves and dirt in our hair. The shower after every day was so good.
Yeah.
I remember we shot the last scene. It was the last scene. And I remember just thinking over and over, it's not good enough, let me do it again. I don't want it to end. And I remember Jon was like, it's good enough. We're cutting the film. And I'm like, no! But yeah, music is huge.
Yeah.
That's a massive one. And a lot of us wore a padlock around our neck. And so when the last time when that came off, and the weight of that came off, I feel like that was just, it felt like the character came off too. I was so thankful for that thing, to be honest.
I got to take it home every night because I have to go home, copy all the data, and then once the film's finishing, I then edited it, so I got it all again and again and again. So yeah, it was once we had the first major screening, and I'm just sitting there, people are watching it, people are reacting to it, I'm like, okay, we're good. We got the message across.
So how long was the shoot?
In theory it was 13 days, but we lost time at the beginning of each day for various different reasons, so we probably shot it in about 12 days.
Okay. Single location? Because you said you found a place.
Predominantly.
Single location.
90% was in the old psychiatric hospital over in Gladesville, which is kind of creepy. And then the rest of it was just an apartment.
Help with the atmosphere.
So you're sort of, what would you say, 1800s?
Mid-18s.
Mid-1800s, sort of sandstone buildings, enclosed grounds type thing. So it was good for me because between takes I could sort of wander off and just listen to music. And there is literally like almost a kilometre that you can wander around, to the degree that I did get lost several times and had to call JD and be like, hey, what building are we in? We're in building 21. Okay, I'm at 4.
Start walking.
Yeah. Awesome ambience, like just that old school sandstone building, and it's just got creepy vibes to it.
How did you approach the characters? We've discussed how you let them go, but how did you get into their mindset? Because for several of you, there's some pretty intense things involved in this movie. So, or are you just all that good?
I mean, just...
Yeah, right, okay.
Jock, do you want to go?
Okay. Yeah, it was difficult in the sense emotionally. Like, it was easy, because I've got an older brother. It was an easy concept in terms of picturing losing your brother. But because I've also helped raise kids over my life, I tried to give it that sort of protective element as well. Yeah, basically just sort of tried to put myself in that real position of, if I had an immediate loss like this, how would I react? How would this character react to things? And sort of mesh the two together. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jon gave me like a lot of kind of inspiration. Like, he really drew from one of the characters in, I think it was Buffy, and just a few things. And if I'm being so honest, he gave me so much, and I tried really hard to connect with it, and then I was just like, no, this isn't working, and I threw it out. I did not engage. I was just like, no, this isn't working.
Oh, I see a director's dream. Right, okay.
Yeah.
This is what I want. No.
I did decide I needed to figure out who Ali was in her own right. And I mean, a lot of Ali, like, she goes through a lot of everyday experiences. You know, everyone has a best friend in high school, and everyone experiences this moment where your friends are doing something and you're going, I love you and I want to stand by you, but I don't stand by what you're doing. And so she was like a very conflicted character, but no, I don't think I really had a method. I just kind of I just went through the motions the way she would have, and I mean, working like across from such great actors, they meet you halfway with that emotion, so all you have to do is meet them the other half, for me personally. Yeah.
I feel like it's really typical to have like an angsty teenager role. And when I read Marty first, I tried not to judge her because there's a lot going on. And I wanted to find the way in of that anger and angst coming from protection, because she cares about her sister, and there's so much guilt. And I feel like you're already dealing with trying to figure out who you are growing up. And so I wanted to play with choosing the love side of things rather than the anger side of things. And that sometimes you just don't know how to express yourself, so you just lash out on the people that you love the most. And yeah, definitely with the other actors, like Alison, who plays my sister, it was so hard to look at her and say the things that I had to say. I remember in rehearsals, Jon was like, just push her, like, try this, and I'm like, I'm not doing any of that, like, that's, oh my goodness. So I think I had to find that, like, really through line to pursue that intention with Marnie that I didn't really have as Elke. I don't have a lot of, what would you call that? Like,
Or do you?
or do I?
Vitriol?
Maybe I do. So yeah, I think I really had to tap into that drive and that need to protect, because the whole film, she's just trying so hard to protect, and I needed to keep that throughout everything.
Now, we have some clips, don't we?
Nope.
Do we have some clips? We don't. I thought you said there was. Yeah.
You can reenact.
We do. Okay.
They have. They're giving me because they said before. Shall we run one? Let's have a look and see what this is.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't know.
It's only your movie. Don't worry about it.
Backlash time.
How about deathmatch, man?
I'd still love to be able to play the game with you guys.
You can play one game.
F damn the man inbound, people.
I'm so uploading this to YouTube. They'll love it.
You're gonna bloody regret this.
My shadow still isn't here.
Heard Sam sniper attack.
Psycho decides to turn a game into a reality. The one that's gonna kill us if we don't figure a way out.
There's only one way out. We have to kill you and you to get out of here alive.
It looks pretty scary, eh?
I love the fact that you're reaching for your neck. Just like
I can feel it, the shackle on the
you
other.
felt the collar was back, didn't you? Like it was there.
I didn't even mean to wear this necklace.
So let's go into a little bit of the abstract side of it. Part of the thing behind this is that the characters have a love for extremely violent video games. And that's then what's flipped onto you guys. Do any of you as actors feel that that sort of game affects the development of people?
I don't necessarily think it's the game itself. I think it's usually the people and the culture that surround the game. So I mean, like Call of Duty itself isn't like influencing people. It's the sort of the team speak. It's the lobbies that you.
Okay, let me preview this by saying I'm the world's worst gamer.
Okay.
Yeah, I fail at Tetris, right? So gaming is, to be honest, gaming is not my thing. Somebody wanted to teach me. I asked somebody once, they gave me a copy of Halo 3. And I said, well, how do you master this? They said, you get drunk and just keep playing it. And that's,
Yes.
So I will be honest, my exposure to a lot of those games is virtually negligible. So I'm curious to see them, for yourselves, are you gamers yourself? Did you take that into the roles?
I enjoy playing games. I am not competent enough to call myself a gamer.
Right.
That requires skill and coordination, which I do not have. But yeah, like since I was a kid, I've grown up with the development of games. So Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, PlayStation, that continuation, all that kind of stuff. So games have always been a constant in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I've dabbled in Minecraft throughout my life, but that's about it for me. I haven't played kind of games such as the one we play in the movie, so I can't really comment on the game itself affecting. But I mean, there's definitely something to be said, like as you were saying, like about the culture, and I mean, especially, it leads into so many other deeper conversations, about like the incel conversation with, that kind of thing, like the loneliness epidemic, and just, I think being surrounded in a community of people who, as we explore in the film, who have this safety of a screen, of a home, and they can say some pretty horrible things on there. I mean, we tried to stimulate it, and that even stimulating it, we didn't touch the iceberg of how kind of horrible it can get in those things. Like you just see clips of it, and like it just feels like such an unhealthy environment, which is a shame because I think for a lot of people it's such a safe place. But I mean, it's such a deep conversation there to be had.
I mean, I hate to brag, but I'm actually pretty good at Mario Kart.
Oh, okay.
I'm really good. Just saying.
There we go.
Oh my god! I mean, your biggest fan.
Waluigi, we meet again.
Out of 1 to 10,
Damn it.
I'd say pretty good.
So, I mean, an interesting thing, and again, this is only going on the readings, but a lot of the message from the movie seems to be more about not the games, not the people who play the games, but the unreal community that exists online within these things. Like you know, I'm surrounded by family and friends, a whole bunch of friends who I'm playing this game with, but the truth is you're not, are you? You're still insular. And you're surrounded by a whole bunch of people you don't know who don't know you and can go wherever they want about you. And this seems to be a strong part of the message. Is that true?
The idea, I mean, I don't think films and games cause violence per se. I think there's something else that's in that person's world that pulls them out of their game. I kind of looked at it as, you play these games and you're running around shooting people and it's really easy and it's really cool and it's sort of fun. The real world's a very, very different place. So it was meant to be the contrast between when they're running around playing the game and shooting people and Marnie's run out of bullets again because her character sucked at the game immensely. You know, Ali was meant to be a hacker who would cheat her way through games because she wasn't really quite as into it. But when reality arrived, there was no escape. If you ran out of bullets, you literally ran out. There were no cheat codes for Ali to resurrect herself. And for Jock's character, Joe, he had lost his brother because he'd played one of these games that had been so horrendous to him and then posted everywhere. I just wanted to take out the unreality of playing these games and go, the real world's not the same. And it hurts. If someone shoots you in the leg, it really hurts. And luckily I had actors who could do the most amazing screams. My soundy had a great time with a couple of our actors going, this is for my sound library, because Lexie does the perfect horror scream, and one of my other characters did the perfect visceral scream, and you know, Elke does good crying, and Jock can just give an evil stare. So it was a matter of making it feel real, whereas the game wasn't. They were sitting at home, playing on a couch or on a bed or whatever.
Now, this also goes for you guys to ask questions, not just me talking away. So if any of you have questions, castmates, you're allowed to ask questions as well, just so you can really put them all on the spot here. But we do have, Mario has a question.
How long did it take you to get into like the costumes and the makeup and if there's any injuries that happened, how long did the special effects for making like a gashed leg take? So how long did it take to prepare for the shoot, basically?
I mean, I didn't get like a serious prosthetic, so I didn't take that long. I think the longest for me was my leg once I got like shot. But that really just involved getting in like an old shower in the place and someone just pouring blood. But I mean, Gordon, who he plays Will. And it's been that long. And he gets like a bumped eye, and he had this prosthetic. It took him like maybe an hour and a half each day to get it on. And the poor guy, it was so hot, it would fill up with sweat inside. And so by the time he'd finished shooting, he'd be like, get it off, but yeah, I mean, I'd say about an hour, like maybe an hour each, depending on how bloody you were that day. And then touch-ups throughout the scenes. Costume took like 5 minutes. We got really lucky with costume. It was just like trackies and a t-shirt for most of us.
You just went to your own wardrobes, didn't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then the other guys who wore like the camo, I think they were pretty simple as well. So we definitely saved time where we could, so we could really put more into the filming and take advantage of the location, because it was quite expensive, I think. So. Yeah.
So Joe, I mean, this is your baby, you put it together. Do you have like a team of people that are just kind of there that you can call on, costumers, sound guys, cinematographers, etc.? Because obviously you've been doing other projects. So there's just a group of people who are kind of a phone call away that say, yeah, let's come and do another one.
You know, I've got lucky because I've done a bunch of these, and there are people I've worked with over the various films for the last 15 odd years, 20 years, who I know, if they're available, they're reliable, they're very good at what they do. They understand shooting a horribly tight schedule with not a lot of money, because that takes practice. If you have people who are used to big budgets, they go, what, you want me to set up a room in half an hour? I'm used to 3 hours. So, you know, I've got a very good pair of camera ops who shot the whole thing for me, a soundie who I've known forever. We got some new people on, so we get new people into the group all the time. Our production management team and our first AD are the usual unsung heroes. No one ever sees or knows what they do, but we couldn't do a film without them. To the point that one location, we didn't even have running water. So our production manager, our unit manager, carried vats full of water throughout the 3 days we were shooting there, and it was the hottest days in summer. So they were lugging these huge 8 to 15 litre vats of water from where we could get it, so that the rest of us didn't keel over. Because we just work away and you kind of forget to take care of yourself, and that's where having the crew around you kind of rescues you when you need it, because you don't realise you're slowly but surely wilting like a flower without water. And they arrive and they go, here you go, and you didn't need to ask and they didn't need to know. So they're kind of the unsung heroes, because we see all the actors on screen and everyone goes, oh, you're the director, you did this and this. No one goes up to the production manager and goes, thank you for keeping them alive and feeding them.
Those girls were amazing too. They were so good.
So yeah, there's a group of us.
Yeah. No, that's all right. You finish out. Just
there's a group of us who we get back for next films and next films and next films, and hopefully we keep moving onwards and upwards.
Rolf the dog is gone.
Different look. Gotta have two different looks.
We have a question.
Obviously you don't have to answer, but I've always been interested as actors, and your baby obviously, when you go home at night, you're trying to unwind, or when you go to bed at night, do you just envision your scenes and being in those spaces while you're in bed? Do you dream about literally being shot at, laying on the ground, that around your neck? Do you just get in your head about it, or?
Yep. Yeah. Not so much that, more just thinking back and going, oh my god, why did I say it that way? What was I doing? What was I even looking at in that one? Oh my god, I ruined the entire day, it's a waste. Crap.
Yeah, 100%. You sit there and go, why? Like, especially if you are lucky enough to get to like watch it back quickly, and you're like,
how do I fail at being human?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
But and as well, like, I don't know about you guys, but like there were definitely like days where like I'd have my shower, I'd washed off all the fake blood, and I'd be sitting in bed getting ready, and I would just sit down and I'd be like, oh, those are real bruises, and like, oh, cool, my hair is actually pulled out of my scalp, and like, you know, that kind of, it was awesome, don't worry. But you know, that kind of thing.
You will note that Joe is there laughing at your pain. Like, you know, I just
he gets quite excited. Yeah, no, you definitely, and like I would definitely like, because of that whole thing where I'll be going, why did I play this that way? The next day you're there going, right, lock in, like gotta play it this way, and you get very intense, but that's about it for me. No, that's about it.
Yeah. This is the second film that I've worked on with Jon, and both times, in my dreams, I thought that I was still being directed, and I would wake up sitting upright in my bed being like, why is the camera still rolling, Jon? I'm trying to sleep, like I can't, I don't know how to take direction and sleep, and I'd be talking to the wall, and a minute in I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, go back to bed. It's like it's in your subconscious mind because you're so used to being directed.
I know, just like regular people, in the many jobs I've had, I'll go to bed at night and I'm still serving at my counter. Yeah. I'm still doing this. You guys are like actors and like really cool people. You'd think that you wouldn't get anxiety about the way that you portray someone or thinking back. I was just wondering if like you're laying in bed at night and you're still in the woods, but like that's crazy and really profound because you obviously did an amazing job. So really excited to see it.
Thank you.
So there's a big queue. Where can we see it?
Available now on Apple
showing?
TV and Amazon Prime.
Is it on
iTunes.
Apple?
And iTunes.
Okay.
And Xbox.
Apple TV, it's everywhere.
I think Tubi at some point.
Yeah.
The Tubi.
I think you nailed it there, actually. Yeah.
I know I'm missing one or two.
That's all right.
Google
so
Play.
It's out there. We can find it. A quick question from all of you. This sort of independent filmmaking? Is this the future for Australian film? We seem to have stopped worrying about, and I go back to my youth, everything was the Australian Film Corporation. You would apply for a grant, you'd get this, you'd get that. Now we've gone to the extreme of just bringing in mammoth overseas money, but we're the subservient little ones who are just working on the shows, and we're not investing in Australia's future. The way it seems to be happening is that future is being created by people like yourself, who are doing these sort of projects to give talented artists a chance to be seen out there, and our styles to be seen out there. So for all of you, what do you think?
It is a big topic, sadly. There are still Australian films getting made and funded. We probably make 25 features a year. It hasn't changed a great deal in 20 years. Independent films are the best place for people to learn. They go on to bigger and better things. We do a lot of TV as well. But I think the indie scene is vital for teaching people, because the big productions, they know who they want. And if you don't do the small productions, you can't say, I've done this, therefore you can trust me with more. We do good indie films. We've had a couple of really awesome successes around the world. Films like Wormwood, which has spawned a sequel, which is properly funded. Gabriel. Every now and again we do an absolute blinder. And I think the more people make films, the more they learn how to make them. So if they do land on a big budget, they're not sitting there going, what do I do? Because it'd be a terrifying thought, not knowing if you go into shooting something larger, what to actually do with it. So I think we need to just keep making films, but that's just me.
I think with the whole tariff situation in America, it's definitely been a bit of a kick in the gut to get our own projects on the way too. I think Aussie cinema is heading in a really great way. You've got things like Boy Swallows Universe, and you've got these they're not trying to be American anymore, I think. I think we're really trying to rep our own. I feel excited. Even though the industry's changing, I think it's still exciting.
Yeah, I'd probably echo that. I mean, it's especially as well as the tariffs, we also just have this cost of living crisis that is just weighing so heavily on everybody's shoulders. I can't imagine trying to approach a film with such a small budget. It would just be so hard, especially if you have, as we've been saying, this film is your baby. To think of something you love so much and you want to bring it to life and you just don't have the means is so hard. And I just think I agree completely. I think the sooner we can just embrace showing our culture in our films, that's what's going to set us apart and hopefully kind of get us that next step in. I have a lot of hope for it.
The example I go to is probably Mad Max, in terms of Australia has a specific eye and a specific feeling for movies, and especially with Australian independent cinema, there is so much more gritty and realism. You get those hard-hitting stories. Once Were Warriors is an incredible example of a sort of smaller independent movie that just is, by the end of it, it feels like you've had a punch in the gut. So one thing I love about Australian cinema is that we are creatives, but because there is not a whole bunch of support, it forces us to be more resourceful, and so think more about what stories we can make with certain budgets, with certain equipment, certain crews, things like that. I think Australian independent cinema is fantastic, because that's where you see both emerging talent and also interesting stories, because it hasn't been vetted by 16 different bloody boards for approval and things like that. It's literally people who are passionately telling a story.
So John, as a filmmaker, has the advancements in technology made filmmaking more accessible, so that your $100,000 budget isn't totally spent on the sort of cameras and equipment that you used to have to get? I mean, let's say you could grab yourself a Blackmagic 12K and use that and it's great for traveling shots and running shots, as opposed to having to set up the expense of getting a dolly and all those sort of things. So has the technology made it financially easier to make films, or is it still an arduous task?
It's definitely easier. I mean, you can go out and you can get a camera that will do you a good job for not a hideous quantity of money. There is still differences, of course, but in terms of starting out, you're doing indie stuff, it's much more accessible now to get a nice camera that can tolerate the lack of lighting, because lighting kits cost. So it definitely makes it easy to do. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, because sometimes there's too much content, if that's actually possible.
You mean like digital cameras when you go on holidays and come back with 6,332 photos?
Yeah, basically. You know, there's hundreds of films being made, and it's great. People can get out and make films. I'm definitely a fan of that, otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But it's a good place to learn. You still have to step it up. The littler cameras are really good to start out with, but they can't always deliver exactly what your vision is. But if you work at it, then you can slowly climb your budgets up to a point where you can play with a few more toys. It's nice to have them. Luckily, we had a fantastic DP, cinematographer, who pulled a whole bunch of favors from her slightly more experienced than us friends. So we had some really pretty toys to play with. So we had, you know, a couple of days where we had a Steadicam op, which just add a different level. So it does make it more accessible. There's certainly more you can play with, but it's worth aiming high and seeing how you can go, pushing the limits of what your toys can do.
So for each of you, your future, where do you want to go? Like directing, writing, Oscars, Emmys, all of them? What do you all want to do?
Keep doing what I'm doing.
No desire to step up?
Oh yeah.
So
obviously we'd
you'd like somebody to come along and say, do this feature film.
Obviously I'd like to do things with a better budget, but as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, I'll at least stay happy.
Oh, maybe I'll get you all guys. I did a Phantom panel yesterday, and we came up with this idea of a weekly TV series, and it's based on like an archaeologist stumbles in and finds the Phantom's cave, and so every episode's a different one out of the Chronicles, because there's so many Phantoms, you know, like, but I've got to find a team to put it together. What would you like to do? More acting? Do you want to direct? Do you want to become a writer, producer? Run Warner Brothers Studios, you know?
I love the word yes. I'm excited about everything, but I love acting so much. And it's just a dream to have a sustained career, to be able to do that, and to continue telling stories and to not be stuck in a box. So keep testing that out, seeing where it takes me. But yeah, hopefully some more gritty Aussie stories come through to us so that we can play them.
Yeah, I just want to act. Like, I would do any role. Like, I would do anything. Because obviously the ideal is to be making enough money that I can sustain that. Like, you know, actors, it's not the easiest industry, certainly starting out.
No.
So,
Generally, 93% of actors are unemployed.
Love that.
And what is it? Of the 7% that aren't, only 2% can make what they class as a standard living. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a very far off dream, but I mean, I would just love to. I would love to just do anything I could. I really miss theatre. I would love to get back into theatre.
You get itchy feet?
Sorry?
Go to the theatre and get itchy feet?
Anything.
I know that feeling well.
All of it, yeah. No, I would love to keep up the art for sure.
Mainly keep acting. Acting is the love. Voice acting is the passion. Just.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I grew up in like the Nickelodeon heyday, so all of that sort of voice acting stuff is just been built into me. Like Robin Williams is one of my great inspirations for just that versatility. So yeah, the two things that I would love to do is A, voice acting, and B, I don't want to be in a movie poster. I want an action figure.
Right.
Like that, people are talking like, oh, I want to be on like, you know, the TV hits posters and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that stuff that, I want an action figure. I literally want a mini version of myself so I can look at it and go, my God, that's a big head.
Well, and of course the voice acting, we see the example here with a person who was a stuntman, a corporate speaker, and now he's the voice of Scooby-Doo. You know, so Neil Fanning, if you go over and talk to him, and he'll tell you the story. When he was, he was on the first Scooby-Doo movie they made. And they filmed it here in
Is
Queensland.
that the Spooky Island one? Or
Yeah, with Ron Atkinson.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I love Scooby-Doo.
That's Tangalooma Island. That's just across the bay from where I live. So, but yeah, he was there, and he was to be just the on-set voice, so that the actors had it. And he did such a good job. They kept him going and kept him going. And at the end of it, they actually did a voice-off between him and the guy who was actually doing Scooby's voice in the animated series. And the execs in Hollywood said, no, him. So there you go. So he can, and now he's got 2 films under his belt, and I think they're working on all sorts of things. So, I'm sorry, are we keeping you from your phone call? So voice work, great. And of course the thing with voice work now is, again, with the technology, you can set up in your closet your own little voice studio, and away you go. So, you know.
It's sort of a 50-50. It's easy as, because you can buy, like, especially with like game streaming and stuff like that, you can buy a damn hot microphone for about $300-400, and it will most definitely do the job. The main fear on the other side is all the AI stuff, because basically all you need is a minute of voice clip and you can just generate something out of it.
I was talking with some voice actors last year at one of these shows, you know, and exactly that.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. It's like, well, they've got our voice from 15 years of voicing this character, and their concern is just that now, that they can just take the clips and away they go, you know. I mean, for any of you who saw The Mandalorian, where they brought Luke back.
Yep.
So all of that, his voice is all an AI voice. He did the lines, but then they use clips to de-age it and all that. So it's very scary technology these days. So yeah. So, but having said all that, positives. Where are you guys here on the show? Where are you on the floor so we can come and talk to you?
Randomly wandering around looking at what cool stuff to buy.
So they haven't got you in a stand someplace? They haven't got your area to come and talk to? No. Oh, well, I'm very annoyed with that. Remind me to talk to people. Well, if you see the guys wandering around, please bail them up, talk to them. Make sure you go onto some of the streaming platforms, wherever you can find it, have a look at Backlash, and then write in and tell Supanova you'd like them to come back so we can talk about it more, or their next projects, all right? Yeah. Will you give the team a big round of applause for being with us today? Thank you so much, and continued success to all of you with all the projects. We want to see you all at the Oscars in about 5 years' time. All right, and you can go, I owe it all to the panel I did at Supanova way back. All right, thank you guys, thank you very much. Now everybody, we do have to clear this room for the next panel that's coming in, because it is a ticketed panel.